Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I am super excited to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac Reunion Part 3. I am excited to talk about it. I'm very frustrated by it, so we will get into all that, and I really want to hear your thoughts on how everything went down, and I want to talk about how pissed I am at Andy. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. Okay, so third part of the reunion. Extra long, hour and a half. Do we need that? Maybe not. But I still enjoyed the heck out of it. Let's talk about the Andy thing. What the heck was going on with Andy? I've had a lot of you guys comment the same thing. He's kind of been a jerk this reunion. I thought, especially to Monique. I think he's just firmly in the other camp. So he just kind of would cut her off. I thought he was short with her and kind of shitty with her. And he didn't like how, she's trying to explain her A-type personality. And I understand that rubs a lot of people the wrong way as far as, not showing remorse. I'm separating that from this, but I just thought it was weird. He was like majorly playing favorites against her, and I was kind of shocked by the whole thing. Okay, so let's get into what all happened. I'm not going to go over every single thing that they talked about because hour and a half, but I want to hit some of the highlights here. So, of course, we pick up with Candiace walking off crying, feeling sorry for herself, saying, "I can't take the lying. It's just so crazy to me." Okay, Candiace, what's crazy to me is that you're playing the victim in all this. It's also crazy to me that the social media stuff keeps coming up, because if you ever have 5 minutes or 5 hours, get on Candiace's Twitter. You won't be sorry. She tweets the most god-awful things. I mean, they've shown it on the show, and Andy talks about it. She's terrible. So to then cry about other people's Twitters and social medias and stuff like that is kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. So I just didn't like how Andy was with Monique. I didn't like that he seemed short with her. He's calling her unemotional, very dry about the whole thing. And she's like, basically, I took it as her saying, "Listen, I was in shock. I went from one mental state to the next, and there's my name being, with pressed charges." So, I don't know. They're cutting between Chris, Chris and Candiace's husband. Why can't I think of Bassett? Jeez. Okay, Chris Bassett talking to Candiace like, "Oh, it's okay," and making a joke about taking her dinner and then doing stuff with her later and stuff. I don't know. So Chris Bassett has never bothered me. He bothered me a little bit this reunion, but then again, I don't mind him so bad. He kind of comes off a little bit of a know-it-all, I think, but I think you kind of have to have that personality if you're going to be with somebody like Candiace, because she would chew him up otherwise. Okay, so, "Hey, I'm Robyn." She's like, "If there are group events, don't include her." So they talk about, is Monique being punished, or is production doing that? And that's where Robyn says, "She asked not to be included in group events." That's my Robyn impression. "Why did it take you so long to press charges? Did you do it out of spite because Monique didn't apologize?" Candiace was like, "I did what I did reluctantly because I felt like I didn't have a choice. And when I saw you paint this narrative," oh my God, such a victim. Again, I think it was the last part of the reunion, she was making fun of Monique and saying, "Oh, you play such a victim." I'm like, my God, look in the mirror. Okay, yeah, so I don't even know. So going on from here, Andy says, let's move on. Andy brings up Karen, saying that she would press charges. Monique says, we're grown enough to say, I don't agree, but we can move on and still have a friendship. And I thought that was an excellent point. Monique is saying that her and Karen have a genuine friendship. They can say they can disagree with each other, and that's okay. That's how friendships work. So Andy asks Candiace if she took it too far with the lawsuit. Robyn says, legal action never crossed my mind. It was too far. I was kind of surprised to hear Robyn say that because she's been firmly in Candiace's camp this whole time. Gizelle, I wanted action, but to go to jail is too far. Community service would have been better. So let's talk about Gizelle. As you guys know, I have been a Gizelle fan for a very long time, but I've really turned around this season because she is miserable. And I don't mean that even mean. I'm saying she legit seems like she is very miserable in her personal life. So her goal, whether intentional, which I believe it is, but maybe not, maybe it's not intentional, is to take everybody else down and make them miserable. You know what am I saying? It is intentional. So, and we'll definitely get into Gizelle some more, but Giselle's saying the countersuit was assault. Candiace didn't, I'm doing Robyn voice. Candiace didn't even assault Monique. And, oh God, we have to relive this fight over and over. Believe me, I'm here for the drama, but I'm kind of over talking about this fight. I've said how I feel. You guys have said how you feel. We mostly all agree. Candiace is the worst. Let's move on. Okay. Let's see. Candiace told Ashley that Monique was playing her and talking shit about Ashley and Michael. And Andy says, Ashley, do you believe that? It was so convoluted. Candiace is like saying that Monique talked about Ashley and Michael at dinner one night. And Ashley's like, girl, bye. I don't believe you. And who cares if they did? Gizelle says she was shocked. She doesn't think Ashley should have gotten involved in the legal issues. Gizelle, you get involved in everything. What are we doing here? All right. Andy asks if there's anything that anybody wants to say about the altercation before we move on. Hallelujah. Monique says that she revealed to her therapist that her dad used to do this hand thing where he'd put his finger or his hand on her head. And it just made her feel so uncomfortable. And that's kind of the motion that Candiace did. So it was a trigger for her. She says she does take responsibility for her part, for her action. The fight wasn't about her. And nothing you said or did in that moment. I thought that was a good statement. She says nothing you said or did in that moment warranted what you received. I offer you an apology. I'm sorry for the pain that you're still going through. I hope we're able to heal and move forward. Perfect statement, if you ask me. I thought that was well said. She took a little more responsibility, which is what I was personally looking for, but I don't want to go back over it again, but I still think Candiace is to blame as well. They both are. Candiace says, I can appreciate childhood drama, and my hand in your face, the problem I'm having is it's been over a year, and so many things were said and done, including oh God, that was so funny. They showed a picture where she said, you scratched my face out of the cast photo. So we saw a picture of that. Not only did she scratch out Candiace's face, she scratched out Giselle's face too. I actually found that very funny. That's not mean, that's funny. Okay, so they talk about the song. Apparently Monique's therapist encouraged her to write a letter to Candiace. She's explaining before she had kids, she used to write songs, she used to record music, and so it kind of became this song. So this is where Andy got shitty again. He was like, oh, you never apologized to her first, and why do you keep coming for Candiace? And Monique's saying, listen, my attorneys recommended that I not reach out to her, and Andy's like, you got bad advice. Oh my God. Cool, Andy. Glad you're so perfect. All right. Candiace, you got dragged for running your mouth. Can you take responsibility for how provoking you can be? So I was a little surprised she said yes. She's accountable for her mouth, and I'm good at cussing and fussing is what she said. And I still think, you can say the right words, but you're still provoking even at the reunion. Okay, I'm ready to move on. Andy brings up Candiace and Karen's relationship. Karen refused to pick a side, and leaving you to wonder where her loyalty lies. I don't know. I thought, again, Karen was just way more mature this season. I think she had her own stuff. I truly do. I think she had her own stuff going on with Ray. We saw it. Things were tough for her. And she's still dealing with the loss of her parents. So she's just probably like, screw it. I'm not going to take a side. I'll be friends to you both. I mean, it's kind of the mature way to handle things. And everybody's giving her crap about that. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. Let's see. Candiace says Karen was making what happened all about her and talking about how hard it was for Karen. And Karen says it broke her heart what all went down. She went through what she saw. Again, I'm over this. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's see. Okay, so they kind of pinned Karen down about the Portugal thing, about you said you weren't going to invite Monique to your event. Well, she clarifies, like we all knew. She said, no, I said I wasn't going to invite her to the main event. I did, however, invite her before the event. Again, I say they didn't actually run into each other, so who cares? Like, it doesn't bother me at all. Everybody doesn't have to be friends with everybody. It makes a more interesting cast that way, so it's fine. Let's see. Oh, Andy said that Karen slithered out of her event and made her seem guilty. And she says, I left because I could. And I say, again, I love you, Karen. You're great this season. Okay. I'm moving past this. We talk about Candiace's medication. It's just silly. Now, we did find out something interesting, that Candiace apparently sent Karen a message that said, what you did was evil, burn in hell, things like that. Okay. So Karen ended up going to she said their boss to talk about this. And Candiace is saying, oh no, you tried to get me fired. And Karen's like, no, it says in our contract that should we need it, therapy will be provided, basically. And she felt like that Candiace needed it. And I say, again, that's a good friend. You know, I don't know about going to the boss, but if you have to do that to protect somebody you really think is in trouble, then I say go Karen. Okay, let's go on. So Andy brings out the guys, right? And I gotta say, I love Charrisse Samuels. I really do. I've always loved him. I know a lot of people got pissed at the whole BJ thing when he was being Monique at the lake house. It didn't bother me. It didn't seem to bother Monique. It's their relationship, and if she's okay with it, I'm okay with it. But we do see an interesting clip where Andy's going around being Andy, being like, basketball, and Juan played with Jordan and all this. He's joking with everybody, and he gets to Charrisse Samuels, and Chris is like, I was too busy watching lies spread on my wife, and if we don't get on to the owning up, there's going to be a real mess up on this stage. Ooh, I love Chris. Okay. So Andy he officially welcomes the husbands to the stage. They make small talk. Jamal's not there because he's supposedly lecturing. Yeah, right. Ashley is saying Michael's not there because he's in a wedding, and Juan had basketball practice. So we see Wendy's husband, Eddie. I think he's the better half, truthfully. She still bugs me. Even this episode where she barely spoke, she bugs me. But I like Eddie. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. I hate hearing about the family and the difficulties, and it's been 10 years since he spoke to his family. Ugh, that's awful. Okay, Andy brings up Ray and his feelings about Karen, and he regrets. And I was glad to hear this. Ray kind of qualified things. He said, I love Karen dearly. She was saying, are you in love with me like 25 years ago? And I couldn't honestly answer that. And he's madly in love with her in the same way. And I thought that was the right thing to say. The thing that bugged me that Andy didn't ask about is why don't you support her more in her business? He focused more on the love thing, but I'd like to know, because I believe he loves her. It was shitty how he handled things. I'm not making excuses for him, and I'd be so pissed if my husband said something like that, but I'd like to know, why doesn't he support her more in the business? What's the deal with that? Is it just about being tired, retired, all that stuff, spending more time with her, or is there something more to it? Okay. Andy brings up Chris and Candiace being out of Dorothy's house. Okay. Chris Samuels imitating Monique at the lake house. He said it was a playful joke. Okay. Then we find out Gizelle was accompanied by a security guard at her request because of something Chris Samuels said online. They played the clip back. It's that Instagram thing. If you haven't found my other video, check it out. I actually play Monique's Instagram where all this stuff was talked about all the accusations, about Chase not being their kid, or Chris's kid, and all that nonsense. He says, okay, if you want to get to the nitty gritty about how I feel about it, I'm curious how you feel. No, he probably shouldn't have said the same things he said, but I did not take that as a threat. I was really putting myself in that situation. I was thinking, he probably shouldn't say that to a group of women, but he didn't threaten them, if you want to split hairs here. So it was just for attention that Gizelle brought that bodyguard. It was just ridiculous, honestly. Gizelle doesn't really have a storyline right now. I feel like her whole story's been blown wide open with this Jamal stuff, and so what else was she going to do? So she brought a bodyguard. So, okay, they went back and forth during this part about this whole Chase storyline. And again, this is where Andy bugged me, because he wasn't being, I don't think he was being fair to Monique and Chris on this. He seemed to be siding with everybody else. And he kept Andy's argument about this whole, is Chase Chris's son? Andy kept saying, like, it doesn't matter, it didn't air, it doesn't matter. Well, we know this storyline, though, so obviously it was brought up. Even if it was by the Samuels, they didn't make this story up out of nowhere. They had to have heard rumblings of it. And then we get to see that Gizelle actually was talking about it on camera. So again, even with the clips of somebody talking about it, Andy just doesn't seem to care about Monique so much. He just seems over her. And I felt for Chris because he seemed so genuinely upset. As anybody would, saying, like, this has crossed so many lines, talking about the paternity of his son. And all Andy could say is, we didn't show it on TV. But I think Chris's point is that it doesn't matter. It was still talked about. It was still plotted out. The girls or the ladies deny that it was. Maybe it wasn't, but Gizelle sure talked about it, and Robyn didn't seem to react that much when Gizelle dropped the bomb. So I do believe that it was plotted out. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why Andy is coming down on Monique and Chris so hard, saying it didn't air, let's move on. And maybe they should move on, but it was still talked about. And that's his son. So of course he's going to, I thought it was so sweet, he's standing up for his son. I don't understand why Andy doesn't understand that. Okay, so moving on. It keeps going on and on. And it seems to be Gizelle versus Chris Samuels on that stuff. But we find out why. It's because Gizelle's the one talking about it. Okay. What's up with Michael's comments about Juan not marrying Robyn? Okay. Ashley says he thought Juan was so comfortable with the situation that he wouldn't propose. That's Ashley's cover for Michael. Well, Andy's like, well, Michael acted like he knew something. We all know something. Michael has a thing for Juan. He wanted him to have a, romantic getaway without the women. Cool, whatever. Somebody else, I'm so sorry, I can't remember which one of you guys in the comments had a good theory, though, too, which could be maybe it's not, although I do believe he's into Juan. We've seen a lot of it. But let's just play devil's advocate. What if he's not? Who cares? What if he is? Who cares? But what if he's not saying that? What if, they pointed out that Michael's such a sleaze and he sure doesn't mind cheating. So what if he's saying that to say, we'll go without cameras and we'll go hook up with a bunch of chicks and, do whatever on this bachelor party. So either way, he's disgusting. He really grosses me out. I kind of wish Juan was there to answer for it, but I don't know that we'd get much answers there. Let's see. Robyn is talking about her party, her engagement party, and the fight between Charrisse Samuels and Chris Bassett. And, oh no, I'm sorry. See, I'm saying all these Chris's. Chris Bassett and Michael. And Bassett says he doesn't tolerate disrespect of women. And I'm not going to let any man disrespect my wife ever. Okay, I got to say, that was pretty hot. I'm not attracted to Bassett, but that was pretty good that he said that. I didn't like how aggressive Bassett was being with Michael. And believe me, I cannot with Michael. He's probably my least favorite cast member, maybe of all time. But I liked the explanation. So Bassett basically explains that Michael has this issue where if he's got a problem, he comes at you sideways instead of straight on. So he felt like Michael was approaching him in this aggressive manner about his wife, and it didn't sit right with him. So that's why it came to, I guess, blows or whatever, pushes or whatever. So not really cleared up, but whatever. Let's move on. Last question for Chris Samuels. You and Chris, Candiace's husband, were buddies before the fallout. They both say that they hate it. Bassett says it's not for him to decide if they make up. He says he wants his wife back. If it means not having a relationship with Monique, then that's what it means. Okay. Then, you guys, we see Ray ask for the date of Robyn's wedding. They have a 25th anniversary coming up, and he wants to renew their vows. How cute is that? I'm not letting Ray off the hook. He's been awful this season, but I'm just saying Karen seemed genuinely touched and moved, and it was a thoughtful gesture, and it gives him more of a storyline next season, so maybe we'll see him be a little more supportive. Maybe not. But I just thought that was a touching moment. Everybody seemed super excited and happy for them, and I was happy to see Karen finally get some happy news during all this. Chris Samuels, before leaving, says that he talks about Monique, and I thought he was being so sweet. He said the way that she went through all those nasty rumors and all she wanted to do is protect my son. Now that's a real woman right there. And I'm telling you, I broke down crying for the strength of my woman because it was very painful for us. And again, it's such a touching moment. I could really feel the hurt. I didn't feel like it was put on, is what I'm trying to say. Everybody else was rolling their eyes, and Chris was trying to take up for Monique and saying, look what you guys put her through, and all she wanted to do is be there to protect my son. And Chris ends up telling Gizelle, hurt people, go get some help. So that's it for the husbands. They leave. We do see the two Chris's hug and say we good. So we find out that they have been there for 11 hours. Oh my God, 11 hours. One of the longest reunions he said they've ever done. So much emotion. It's been a real journey tonight. Andy wants to know if tonight Gizelle will call Jamal. And she said, we spoke. And he said, do your thing. I love you. What? Okay. Candiace is dabbing her eyes, saying it sucked, but it's been funny and fun, and that's why I love the majority of the group. I feel like it's a sisterhood. Andy says renewing the vows can be a kiss of death on a housewife show, and Karen says, well, they've all broken each other this year, and it's a new beginning, and I think she's talking about renewing her vows and for the group, of course, and Andy has them all slither into season 6, so they slither on out to the exit, and that's how the episode ends. So this is where I'm curious about your thoughts. I really want to know, what were your thoughts on the reunion? What were your thoughts on Andy? Who was the standout of this reunion? What do you think about Gizelle's spectacular fall from whatever, like, what all's going on with her this season? I'm really curious, so let me know below. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I got my 90-day fiance recap coming out. Oh, I just started recapping Bridgerton. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a Shonda Rhimes show. It's amazing. Definitely want to check that out. It's really good. It's on Netflix, so be sure to get into that as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my Patreon. It's a great way to support the show. It's only $1 a week. $4 a month gets you 4 bonus episodes. So check that out. And thank you guys so much. I hope you all had a fantastic holiday. And stay healthy and safe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.